Hi everybody, welcome to the District Stitcher. This is episode number 17. My name is Judy and I am coming to you from the scenic, beautiful city of Washington, D.C. As you might be able to tell from the giant print that says Washington, D.C. over my shoulder, it's usually a bit of a tell. So this is a channel primarily about cross-stitch. There may be other crafts thrown in depending on where my ADHD has taken me since the last time I filmed. But I know it's been a while, so I actually have several small fully finished objects to show off. And then I have a couple finishes, and we'll get into that in whips and life updates. I'll tell you why it's been a while since I filmed. There's nothing exciting, it's just life. So without further ado, I have my coffee cauldron at the ready. So let's jump into this. So first off, I showed one of these on my last video, a couple Mill Hill kits that I did, and they were finished, but now I have cut them out. I just do a real simple finish on these. It's just, I cut them out, I back it on felt, and I glue a magnet to the back. Like, it's not super exciting, but he's cute. She's so cute. I love her. I also have done this one, which is Popcorn, which I thought was just absolutely adorable. I did the pizza one last year around Christmas. It was a Christmas gift or a birthday gift to my sister. I'm not sure if it was for Christmas or birthday because she's a December baby, so they can get mixed up. And then finally, I had finished stitching this last year, and I just never got around to finishing it to put it on my door, and this year I am trying to finish all of them. It's the Waxing Moon Designs monthly trios, and I've been just doing real simple finishes where I just glue it on cardboard and used magnet tape on the back. So this is July. So like I said, I finished stitching this last year and then just never fully finished it. And, you know, it's kind of crooked and it's not a perfect finish, but you know, it's good enough to go on my door. They sit inside, on my condo door, they sit inside my seasonal wreath. So just a nice little extra touch. And I loved this. July actually had two different options. She does have and you'll see I'll put or I won't put the picture up for this one, because both July and August are finished now. But the July had two options. There was a patriotic one with an Uncle Sam. But for me, excuse me, sorry, I have stuff in my throat. For me, the July one felt very similar to the Leprechaun from March. So I wanted to do something a little different. And I used to always, as a kid, my sister and I always did picnics. So this was a fun option for me. And I'm just, the little ants I thought were cute. So I did that one, which I imagine is actually what she included for folks who are like Canadian or overseas, or like not American, which is fine. I am American, but I liked the picnic basket one. So this next one is August, which I don't know if I had finished last time I filmed. Again, my framing is not perfect here, but you know what? It's cute enough to sit on my door, and it's done, and I don't have to think about it anymore. So, this, I think I love this crab. He's so happy. He's so happy. With a little ice cream. So these are both stitched on 32 count. Yeah, 32 count Vintage Country Mocha with the called for threads, which are mostly Weeks Dye Works. There's some DMC and others thrown in, but it's mostly Weeks Dye Works. So those are those. And then last fall I had finished a Prairie homeschooler, I think it's called Knock Knock. I bought two of them. I bought a Knock Knock and Who's There because I love how Prairie Schooler does Halloween. I love anything that's sort of vintagey Halloween. I mean, I love Halloween, period, but I really love like very, you know, 1920s through 1940s style sort of vintage look of Halloween. And there's something about the Prairie homeschooler that's very folk arty, but has a nice, when you do it in the DMC threads, it gives it like a crispness that makes it almost feel like modern art meets folk art. I don't know. I dig it. So this is, Who's There? And I just did a pillow finish, pulled out my, middle school home ec sewing skills to make a pillow. Oh wait, hold on, I know how to do these. I did these in middle school. And I just bought some little fringy pom-poms. I didn't do, this is just some extra fabric. This is actually the same fabric that I used just as a background for August. But it's just some fabric from my stash. I have 3 bins full of fabric that I swore I was going to quilt, and here we are years later, and it's still in the bins. So I don't do any sort of fancy thing. You'll see some people will do pillow finishes where they will cut into the back and stuff it that way, and then put like felt and things over it. I just did a basic pillow finish. I mean, it's tied up at the bottom, whip stitched at the bottom to close it, and it's going to sit on a shelf and no one's going to notice. So I might do a fancier finish if it was a gift, but these are mine. They're not gifts, they're mine. So there's that. And it's so cute. So, oh, hold on. I'm going to pause it because I just realized that I forgot to grab one of my fully finished objects. And after fully finishing them, I want to show all of them. So hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. I forgot one of I did 4 pillow finishes. This one was, I couldn't even tell you who the pattern was by. But this is a section of Ocean City Boardwalk. And there was, on the boardwalk, there used to be a needlework and yarn store called Salty Yarns, I think. I think they have moved. Laura with Stitching by the Shore said they moved, so they're not on the boardwalk any longer. But they had been carrying, some local lady had done, had charted up sections of the boardwalk. I picked this one because it had Ocean Gallery, which is, if you've ever been to Ocean City and you've seen Ocean Gallery, it is it's quite the building. And the pattern didn't quite do it justice, so I put some sparkly thread in there because it's got just wood and mirrors and random stuff glued to it. So, but this I did. My husband has a history with his family of they always went to Ocean City. Usually stayed in Delaware, but like the Ocean City, that whole Delaware stretch of beaches and stuff with his family. So that that was a big tradition for his family, and that's usually where we go to the beach as well. So it was just a fun thing I picked up and did from him. Let's see, hold on. There's a closer you can see the sparkly thread. I don't know if it'll close in on it, but this is when I was still putting my initials on things. My initials, this is 2014 is when I finished stitching this. So it's been kind of sitting around since then. So I always thought I was going to frame it, and then I don't know, it just never felt right. And then I was like, I'll just do it as a long, skinny pillow while I'm doing pillows. So, and then this is just some fabric on the back I had in stash. So yeah, there's that one. And then the other 2 I have are pillow finishes as well, and they are from, okay, I looked up how to say this because I feel like none of us stitchers on Flosstube who are not Italian say this correctly, and it was driving me nuts that I didn't know how to pronounce it. So I'm going to try now. I think it is actually Crocette Gogo. Because I think it's Crocette is how you say crosses because that's what I know that's what the word means because it's close enough to French. But I think in Italian it's crocetta. And it just means across the galore. But anyway, she's a wonderful designer. We all know her designs. But I believe you say crocetta Gogo. So please, if you know Italian, please do correct me because I would like to say it correctly, if I can. But so this one is the. I can't remember again. I don't remember if I showed you. I may have started and finished this since my last video. I'm not sure. But this is the eggs for the Easter hen, which she's so cute. And these are really a delight to stitch, these little patterns of hers. And I just matched it with some pink pom-poms. I bought a whole bag of multicolored pom-pom trim, just for small finishes. And then again, just some fabric I had in stash for the back that kind of matches the green of the egg that she's holding. Because I started working on this in April, and I think I finished it up. Because I finally hit a wall with my Christmas stitching, and I was like, I don't want to look at Christmas anymore. So then I kind of switched to a nice spring one. But, speaking of Christmas, here is another one of hers, which is the little penguin. And you may have seen this one around Flosstube. Because it was a newer pattern, and a lot of people were stitching it. And I adored stitching this as well. And you can see she's got a couple others now that are in this, that have the same sort of order, that are around the same size, have the big, cute round characters. So I will probably pick up more of them. And this has a trim that is at the smaller pom-poms, which looks nice, but it was a bear for me to sew on straight, because I'm not the best sewist in the world. I mean, I have a sewing machine, I just, my lines are mostly straight. But I think I like the bigger pom-poms more. But anyway, here he is, and again, just some stash fabric on the back that matches the green. He's so cute. I love him. I love that it came with this little button. It was just so cute. It's adorable. I know a lot of people are doing stitching or Christmas in July. And I thought I was going to, and then I pulled out my Christmas stuff, and I'm just not in the mood for Christmas. But it's really fun to see what people are stitching on across Flosstube for Christmas in July, because it's giving me some ideas of stuff that I may want to do. But I also realized I don't have that much in the way of fall stitching. I have a couple Halloween pieces, but not as many as I would like, especially given my absolute love of Halloween. So I'm going to, I'm in a big fall mood right now. So I'm just going with that and stitching fall stuff. Not exclusively, but that's just what I'm in the current mood for, and I decided that I'm not going to... I think sometimes I am a seasonal stitcher where I want to stitch the season that I'm in, and then sometimes I want to stitch a season ahead, and then sometimes I don't know what I want to stitch, I just want to stitch something. So we're gonna go with that. We're gonna go wherever the stitching bug wants to go. Alright, so those are my... Oh, no, sorry, there's one more. How could I forget? I just got this back from the framer, and it is my Hive Rules, which I think I had finished on my last video. I don't know. I should have gone back and watched it, but I finished Hive Rules, and it's on the called for Lugana, just a regular, it's a higher count Lugana, or lower count, I guess. Bigger stitches than I have been doing. But it was on the called for Lugana and the called for, DMC threads and everything. But I took it to get framed and got it back from the framer. Let's see. There's going to be, it's got glass, so there's going to be some glare, but we'll see if we can do. So we looked at a bunch of frames. It's a local frame shop that I love. They framed pieces of mine before. Actually, you can kind of see right up there. It'll be kind of blurry in the background, but there is a framed piece up there, which I keep swearing I'm going to show you, but I keep not wanting to take down because I have to like climb up onto the counter to take it down, and I don't want to do that. But it's a lavender and lace piece, or butternut road imprint, Maryland Lovett emblem. But they framed that for me, and so I took this one over, and I love the frame that we picked because it looks like a warm kind of honey brown, and I feel like the wood grain in it looks nice with the all the hives, all the like striping on the hives. And this frame has this little bit of black right here, so it didn't really need a matte with it. I think it looks great. I'm really happy with how it came out. And this was a nice piece to stitch because it's, like I said, it's on a lower count Lugana than I usually use, so the stitches were nice and big, and it was easy to see. And so after I'd been bent over 32 count, which I don't know how people stitch on 40. Y'all who stitch on 40, like, I have good eyesight fairly. I mean, I know I'm wearing glasses, but I'm very nearsighted. So I can see stuff up close, but I have no desire to stitch smaller than 32 count. I say now, and then I'll probably change my mind next year. Who knows? But this was just so much fun to stitch, and I love the colors. So this was, if you had not seen this pattern before, if you're fairly new to Flosstube, it had gone around a lot last year, and it's by Primrose Cottage Stitches. And they have a lot of really pretty ones, and they have a couple rules now. I think there's an autumn rules and a Christmas rules. I have the Christmas rules, the pattern for it. I have not started it, but I think I might start it this Christmas. But this is going to be a gift for my niece who has 2 little kids. One of which my oldest grandniece is going to be starting kindergarten in the fall, and my youngest grandniece is a nice fat 7-month-old baby. So she's that round girl, and just that perfect squishable age. So this is where it'll be going, because I feel like this really needs to be in a home with young kids. So I'm going to pause it for a moment so my husband can get coffee and you don't have to hear him pour coffee. Sorry about that. I know it's just a little blip as you're watching, but that is city life when you live in a condo. You can probably see in the far corner, you can just see in the corner of my kitchen. So it's just right here. My little desk nook is in our living room, so, multi-use space. Okay, so I actually have 2 finishes, but one leads into my whips. So let me show you the first finish. And this is, I just finished it this week. And this is Stitchrovia Emma Congdon Strawberries. So I know I showed it on my last video because it's my thumbnail. And I had just started the word, but this was truly lovely to stitch. The colors are gorgeous. It was just nice to, there we go. It was just nice to look at while I stitched it too. It's very beautifully designed, and even that big blue ribbon didn't take that long to stitch. I think it's just absolutely beautiful. I will actually probably take this one to the same framer to get framed. Not sure how yet. We'll see what he has in the store. Maybe wood, just a wood-colored wood, or maybe like a blue frame of some kind. So it'll really depend. But my light, unfortunately, is not really doing justice to just the vibrancy of that, that red. And it's a nice, like, almost hot pink red, but without being neon. It's really beautiful. And this is stitched in DMC on, let me get can't really see the modeling that well. But this is Tycho by Picture This Plus, 32 count Tycho. And it has just some very subtle blue-gray modeling on it. So it is just it's a really nice neutral that gives it sort of a vintagey look without being too aggressive with modeling. So I am I'm very pleased with how that one came out. And I can't wait to show you the finished framed one. So I will get it framed soon because it's going to be it's a gift for my sister. I mean, although I just got that one framed, and they're not getting these till Christmas, so I don't actually have to rush to get it framed, but alright, so the other finish I have that I say leads into my whips because it's finished stitching and then I just moved over on the fabric to do the next one, and this is the final of the Waxing Moon Trio designs, which I will pop up a picture here-ish. Wave my hand so when I'm editing I know to do that. And it is, I just finished September, which is my favorite, which is also my birth month, but I love the big apple tree. So, here it is. Let me put something in the background here. Here we go. So there is, yeah, I'm going to move it over to this side because I know I'm going to keep up the photo for a minute. So this is their September. And then as you can see with my whips, I have started October. So I'm sorry, September was on the previous one. It was July, August, September. And I didn't put a photo of that one up because I finished all three. So this is the final one. And then, yeah, that red really is that red. It's a very strong red. I love it. It's candy apple red, I think, maybe? I have to look. It's from Weeks Dye Works. So it's just a red from Weeks Dye Works. And as you can see, I'm starting the little month band on October. And then I will be moving down on the fabric and doing November and December. And hopefully I will have those fully finished fairly quickly. And this is on the same fabric as the other two. I had started off this series just on some scraps that I had, and then I moved to, and I went through those scraps, and so I bought some 32 count vintage country mocha for that, and this piece of fabric was big enough that I could move it off of my hoop and put it on a Q-snap, which I prefer because it's easier to iron out Q-snap marks than it is hoop marks. So there's that one. And then, okay, my next whip, I cannot find the picture. It's a Mirabilia, and I'm going to have to look online, find a picture, and pop it up here. So again, I'm just going to wave my hand so that I can find it in editing. So it is Mermaid of Atlantis, I believe is the name of it. And I don't have much, I need to get back to it. But I do have the, just the top of it, just that seashell, and a little bit of the border. So, I'll be moving over to the little fish that's next to the seashell next. Get some of the border in so I can count down to the mermaid. It's the called for floss, which is DMC and some water lilies. Like this border up there is some water lilies. You're not going to really be able to see the definition in it. It's very subtle. But DMC and water lilies, and there will be beads. It's a Mirabilia, so of course there will be beads. There will be blood. There will be beads. And I don't know who this fabric is from. It's either the called for or it's close to the called for, but it's this sort of olive green linen, which I think looks really cool with a mermaid pattern. Like, it looks very deep water, in a way that you wouldn't necessarily think of because you think water blue, but I think the green really lends something to it that I think is neat. So I'm excited to get back to that one. And then, so I said I have been in a fall mood. So here is, I picked this up from, this is a recent purchase from Leela Studio. This is, let me block my window out there, All Hallows Eve. I'll focus on there. And I love Halloween, and anytime there's a redheaded witch, I have to get it. Because, I mean, obviously it's me. So I just thought that was really cute, and I started it. It's on Called For Floss and Called For Fabric, and the floss is it's a mix of overdyes. I think there's a couple DMC for like the skin, but there's the border that I'm stitching on right now. The Called For Fabric is Picture This Plus Ancient, which I had not stitched on before. I like Picture This Plus linen in general. I know it's either, everybody has different tastes in fabric. I happen to really like Picture This Plus linen. So it is, it's nice for me to stitch on, and I really like this. The colorway is Ancient, and I think this is just a nice, interesting sort of neutral-ish, right? Like it strides the line between being a neutral and just being kind of a cool art fabric, because it's got that gray modeling on it, which is just really neat. So I can see, I like it a lot, and I think that there will be a lot of uses for that. And as I said, that was a recent purchase, and I have also gotten, when I bought this one, I also bought Harvest Time, which is sort of in the same, it's in the same vein, but it's general fall, instead of being just firmly Halloween. Although there is a little cauldron with a couple little pumpkins. But again, redhead, had to have it. I have always been, as a redhead, I have always been like, if something has a redhead on it, clearly it was meant to be mine. This is, it's my thing. And then I got this Gathering Acorns pattern. So I'm just, hold on a second. Okay, it's dying down now. So I wasn't paying attention to the clock when I started filming. And every Saturday at noon, this is why I normally film on Sundays. Every Saturday at noon, we are a few blocks away from where the DC jail is located. And it's just kind of funny because you think a jail has like in a like dire neighborhood or something, but it's actually been built up a lot around there. There's like a lot of luxury condos and stuff. But because this city has never met a block that it would not put a chunk of luxury condos on. I don't know who buys these things. But every Saturday at noon, the DC jail sounds an air raid siren. And it's because it's like a siren test, but apparently years ago there was an escapee and they sounded the siren and no one did anything. So now they're just determined that the neighborhood is going to know what that siren sounds like, so that when they sound it and it is not Saturday at noon, that means someone has escaped the prison. I guess. I don't. It's dumb. But it is very funny when people are here out of town and we forget to warn them. Like when we have relatives visiting, or a new tenant has moved into a place next door or something, it's just, I have to be like, oh god, I need to tell you about the Saturday siren so you don't freak out, because I love living in Washington, D.C., but there is sort of a general anxiety that I imagine is also an anxiety when you live in, like, Manhattan, right? Like, places that are targets. So it, as someone who lived through 9/11, that is a thing that just kind of lives in the back of your head when you're of that age. So, so if you don't warn them ahead of time that the siren is just hey, it's noon on Saturday, then, but I paused it so you didn't have to hear an air raid siren while I was talking. Anyway, where was I? So I just showed gathering acorns, and oh, the other pattern that I picked up recently was another Crocette Gogo, and this is Spring in the City. I think it has some pale floss, and I know she calls for a lot of just neutral linen when she stitches, which I really like, but I think I might try to go a different color with this so that the paler, that super pale blue, will kind of pop and not disappear into the background. So we'll see. It'll be a while before I get around to this one. I have now all of the seasons in the city except for the one she just released, which is either she did both. She did a Independence Day for American Stitchers, and then she did a I don't remember if she did a Canada Day. Someone should do a Canada Day one. But she did a with the same colors. She flipped some stuff around and did one for Bastille Day for the French. So so you can stitch it and sing La Marseillaise if you want. That is the French national anthem, if you don't. I only know because I took French in high school, and that's one of the languages that has stuck with me because I've traveled through French Canada, and I also had to memorize. I hit pause again accidentally, sorry. But I also had to memorize La Marseillaise in high school. We could recite it or we could sing it, and so of course I had to sing it. I had to Allons enfants de la patrie. So I did the whole thing. I've never met a thing I didn't want to take to the extreme, because as my husband is fond of saying, anything worth doing is worth overdoing. So anyway, that's stitching. And I know it's been a while since I filmed, and there's not any like major life updates or anything to go through. I think last time I filmed I was prepping for the Cherry Blossom Festival, or I was either prepping for the Cherry Blossom Festival or having just got through the Cherry Blossom Festival. I don't remember, but it almost killed me. That's hyperbolic. It was fine. So we did some really cool stuff. We had a Taylor Swift dance party, which was hilarious. Like hordes of middle school girls showed up and danced to Taylor Swift. For those who are new to this channel, I run a nonprofit called Eastern Market Main Street, and Main Street is a national program run by, like, it started out of the National Trust for Historic Preservation, and its goals are, like, you think of like a main street, a high street in a small town. It's meant to preserve those centers of communities that, like, big box stores like Walmart tried to kill. So they quickly realized that cities also have a need for... My glasses are so crooked, and I don't know why. Maybe my face is just crooked. I don't know. Anyway, cities have a need for these as well, because oftentimes the way that cities are zoned, especially DC, will push commerce into these, like, single corridors. So we don't, in DC, because of the way that it's zoned, there's not a lot of, like, neighborhood shops. There's not like neighborhood corner pubs or bodegas or anything like that. They're all just kind of, you'll get one strip of street that is zoned for commercial, and then everything around it is zoned residential. So our nonprofit works in a specific area. There's a bunch throughout the city of main streets that support these different corridors, and ours supports the small and local businesses that are right around the historic Eastern Market. And then that leads me into all of the... Once I finished Cherry Blossom Festivals, I had to prep for the final event that we did for a calendar year of events for the Eastern Market. It's I know in a previous episode I've talked about it, just had its 150th anniversary in November. And in June, we did an anniversary party for... Back in 2007, there was a massive fire, and they almost lost the market entirely. And the community really rallied together to support the merchants and the outdoor vendors that come every weekend for the flea market, and really, supported them through the time where they had to rebuild the market. And they did And then also the community came together to really push through plans of what they wanted to see with that rebuild. So it was a big, we did a whole big celebration of, we called it Strengthen Neighbors. And it was a whole celebration of how great the community is when it comes together and why it's a great area to, live in, shop in, eat in, all that sort of promotional stuff. And the issue, it went very well. However, it was the start of that massive heat wave. And it was, like, no one's used to it gets hot here in the summer. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, DC, you get the joke about it being a swamp. It is actually technically not. Wetlands, yes. Swamp, no. Unless we're talking metaphorically, and then I can see the argument for that. But, heat-wise, it feels... it's very humid. If you're from the South, it's nothing new to you, right? Like, it's a hot, humid summer. But DC gets people from all over the country, so there's a lot of people that are like, what is happening? It is so hot here. But we actually, during the heat wave, were, for a couple days, the hottest place in the country, or close to being the hottest place in the country, just because it was so humid and so hot. And it was rough. So that heat took a lot of energy out of me, and I mostly, when I would come home from work, I would just sit on the couch and play dumb iPhone games or read something and then go to bed. But, our June event went well, and then I went home for a week, just to visit with family in Western Pennsylvania, and forgetting that my mom doesn't have air conditioning. It was less hot, than it was in DC, and at least in Western Pennsylvania, it had been raining, so, things were green, whereas in DC, we've had so little rain that mostly everything is just brown and dead. So I don't mind a hot summer, but this has been like a brutal, gross summer. So it is, thankfully, the weather here has turned around a bit. But when I was in Pennsylvania, we went over to Ohiopyle State Park, which is on the tongue-twistingly named Youghiogheny River. So it's a really pretty area. They do a lot of whitewater rafting. There's lots of cool bike trails and stuff like that you can go on. And then came back in time for our neighborhood. Capitol Hill does a 4th of July parade that's really fun. And it goes down a stretch of 8th Street that's called Barracks Row, because that's where the Marine barracks are. And you get like the high school bands come out, all the neighborhood gets together and does floats. And it does get to the point at some years where you're like, there's almost more people in the parade than there are watching the parade, because it's a neighborhood thing. It's really funny. But we had a bunch of local retailers decorated up a truck and passed out candy, and a local game store had one of their staff members dressed up as Pikachu. And it was really fun. And there's also a troupe of Bolivian dancers that come out, and it always confused me, but I guess there's a diplomatic reason for it, and I don't remember. It's something, I think we took in a bunch of refugees in Bolivia or something, but it was some gesture of friendship for the city, but it's actually kind of neat. But the 4th of July parade is it's really fun. People are out in all their patriotic get up, and it's a good time, but it was also incredibly hot. So it seems that every outdoor event that I've done recently has been excruciatingly hot. So thankfully, finally, the heat seems to have broken. We're in a better stretch of weather, and I don't have any events. I have other things that I'm doing, with my nonprofit, but the event-wise, I don't have anything until the end of September, where we do this whole citywide event. All the main streets put it on in different, so you can go across the city to different neighborhoods and participate in, it's called Art All Night. And so you put out a call for artists to showcase places, and you can do fun art activities. And I'm going to be turning the North Hall of Eastern Market, which is an event space that you can actually rent, and we're going to be doing, it's basically going to be come and make something and leave. Because we get a special grant for it, so I'll be able to pay for the teachers and supplies to come and have stuff, so you can come make a thing and leave. That should be free to the public, or at least cheap to the public, depending on how that final bill works out. But I'm excited to start putting that together. It'll be really fun. But yeah, I just, for a while there, after my last episode, I didn't feel like I had enough stitching to really show. And then I went to the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival in early May and bought a little electric spinning wheel. So I've been spinning a lot of yarn. And I was doing that instead of stitching, so I didn't really have much to show. And then I went through a spurt, but then I was busy, and it had just been a while since I filmed. So, but the end of that today is you got to see a bunch of cool stuff. So, thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for watching. Again, this has been the District Stitcher. I'm Judy, coming at you from Washington, D.C., and have a great weekend.